Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work with your host Maurice. Hey y'all, today I have two special guests. I have been able to see them build a business from the ground up. I'm gonna tell you, they're true hustlers, true entrepreneurs. Anything that you throw their way, I've been able to see them conquer and go above and beyond. And I appreciate them being in my life tremendously. And I hope to that as they enter into your life, that you'll be blessed just as much as I am. I would like to introduce to some Mr. Waverly Pete Lane and Dr. Naomi Pereira Lane.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, afternoon,
Good
evening.
Good afternoon. Greetings and salutations.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
That's good. That's good. So I'd like to welcome y'all to That Will Never Work. And the premise of this podcast, because you get tired of people telling you that stuff ain't going to happen, right? And that's one thing that y'all don't allow that to happen to either one of you. Like, the grass does not grow underneath y'all feet. So what happens? How do y'all keep that moving?
I think just realizing that there's a purpose, and we have a purpose. I mean,
Right.
We don't just, like you said, sit idle. We're shakers and movers, and like to kind of make things happen, not just think about them.
If you look around our community, everybody's always, as with your name, always telling us that will never work.
Right.
And we've always wanted to know why. Why is everybody else able to, and why can't we, and why are they saying it'll never work with us?
So, in that, do you think that comes from the community that you might have been raised in? You know, people that's been around you, your family members. You know, where do you think that kind of comes from?
I think a combination of both. Even some of my peers that I've kind of developed friendships with going along my, in school, where we were going to look to do something together. When it started to look like hard work, they felt like, what's the sense? So they kind of dropped off. And I said, you know what? We have a passion. I'm going to make things happen. So,
right.
And stepping out on faith, we just had a vision and a dream that we wanted to do something, not just for our family and ourselves, but, for the greater community.
Right.
And not just, it's a shame to say that our culture is probably only the one that, before anything even gets started, they tell you can't do it.
Yeah.
When you're succeeding, they're there.
Right.
Before, it's the work that goes in before the success is where you need people the most, and you don't get it.
Okay.
In developing our business, we had zero help, and it felt like every door we opened, people wanted to close it. Meaning we go and ask for help, and it's like, nah, or they were afraid that we were trying to infringe on what they had going on.
So what was the motivation to keep it moving now? What do you think?
I think the motivation for me is because we wanted more. We growing up differently, different household values. I was born and raised, Catholic. But for me, just realizing that I wanted to make a difference. And I didn't let anybody else kind of like just hinder my progress.
Right.
So, a lot of people don't know the work ethic.
In starting our business from the ground up, in which would be a preschool, our passion was because our kids coming up in preschools and daycares and things of that nature, from our community, we were never really happy or satisfied with the conditions. Most of them seemed like they were doing it for the money. You go in, you walk. We hate to use the term ghetto. That's what it was.
Right.
And we always said if we could get one started, we wanted to make sure when you walked in, you recognize it as an establishment over, just because of the color of our skin, you think that it's going to be something bad.
Right.
And those are really the biggest pitfalls that we find. People prejudge. We're a black preschool or daycare owner, it's going to be ghetto.
So all right, so just for FYI for our listeners, their preschool is not located in the ghetto. It is in the suburbs. So I just want to preface before this next question, are you catching that now, even being in the suburbs though? Are you really feeling that way?
Well, I think for some of our clientele who are not used to an actual school, and I preface school, learning center,
Right.
we're open during the day. However, we are not a day care.
Right.
Our teachers are credentialed, certified, degreed, such as myself, and we have a curriculum.
Right.
It's not just drop your child off and let's play all day.
Right.
There is learning through play.
Right.
However, there are set guidelines. We do parent conferences. There's a structure. It's not a one-to-one curriculum. However, when the children come in, we take them as they are, and we kind of set goals for them to go to that next level.
So let me ask you this. Once again, here's another little nugget that I think sets your school above others. You specialize in persons that have food allergies.
Yes, I do.
So what even made you go that route? Like, what was the influence for that?
Well,
and not being scared. I'm sorry, and not being scared and moving forward with that, because it's just that some people might consider that a niche.
Absolutely.
Idea.
Absolutely.
But what even made you consider to move forward with that?
Well, our son at 14 months was diagnosed with life-threatening food allergies to peanuts and tree nuts.
Right.
And I worked in a predominantly prestigious school in the local area, Quaker school, for instance. And even in that environment, it wasn't safe.
Right.
There were other kids that were shared food allergens in the classroom, and I just felt like we needed to put him in a safe environment.
Okay.
So with that, all the degrees and education in my background, we said, what, we need to open up a school not only educational, but to cater to children with food allergies.
Got you.
We focus on the top 8.
Right.
However, we're not exclusive to the other ones that are out there.
So what's the top 8?
Top 8 are peanuts, tree nuts, shellfish, egg, milk, soy, dairy.
Wow. I won't even consider egg. I would have never thought about that, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So, yeah, definitely. And, peanut is a fiber bean. However,
right.
Tree nuts are all those nuts, almonds, peanuts, walnuts, pistachios, almonds. Those are tree nuts because they come from a tree.
Right. Wow. So, Mr. Pete.
Yes.
In that, just as you are moving forward with this school, do you foresee expansion? Do you foresee maybe even a possible franchise type thing? Because that's one thing that you don't hear too often, just that focus on.
Well, we don't want to say we're focused on it. We bring it to everyone's attention because a lot of our community is not aware how serious this food allergy is.
Right.
If you bring up statistics, I'm sure Dr. Naomi can give you some statistics about how many kids die a year.
Right.
From food allergies.
Yeah.
And schools and themselves in general, normal schools, what kind of programs do they have or action plans they have?
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear about it.
Right.
So we want to just not educate our school parents, but other schools and help developing a curriculum that will help other schools, other kids,
right,
feel safe as they, go through schools.
Yeah.
But franchising, we want to focus on this, and build off this. Like I said, we are about educating the kids.
Right.
This is not really about the financial, like we open up 8 schools.
Right.
Yeah, we're making a lot of money, but it's benefiting the kids.
And so I said franchising for that purpose.
Right.
Letting people know that, hey, this is not a fly-by-night
right.
mentality, mom-and-pop shop. It's a real energy, to this education piece. Not just for the kids, not just for the parents, but even the community and globally,
right.
how are people really being, how are lives being transformed in this? And I do believe that it's some things, even just me coming and speaking to you, Dr. Naomi. Is that how you want to be introduced?
Yes. I mean, I think I've earned that, I think I've earned that title as doctor. But, not talking about just a franchise, we've kind of outgrown our space. So even if we did look to get another location, it would be mirrored.
Right.
The same philosophy, mission, and vision that we have for this one, it would have to transcend into the next one.
Right.
And because there's such a need, we do have a wait list, and people are willing to wait to get into our program because of everything we have to offer.
Yeah.
So we're that small school that make big things happen.
And that's one thing that we need to let people know, that it doesn't matter your size.
But our culture, sometimes they want, the pretty on the outside, and not concerned what's on the inside. Really think about it. How many parents go into, let's say, a big public school and question the curriculum, question their teachers' certifications or what their skill set is?
Right.
So we're the same way, but our parents sometimes don't understand that. Just by the title alone, doctors should say, hey, put the work in.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the work in. I mean, how many preschoolers in any setting, any schools, have 3 teachers, doctor, 2 bachelors,
masters,
teaching preschoolers?
I don't think you find too many.
If you took that to, let's say, way up, when you say suburbs, I'm going to go as far as Radnor area. If you put that in a Radnor area where they know their preschool is going to be taught by someone with a doctor's, bachelor's, and a master's in one room, one setting, you probably could command, let's say, $1,000 a week. And they wouldn't blink.
Right.
Our parents understanding the difference, but not appreciating what they're getting.
Not until they're gone. And then they'll call me back and was like, oh my gosh, my child is so much, way ahead and prepared than if they wouldn't have been with me. Or, when I try to give them, the rules about, how academics is important and how you need to emphasize the academics. And then when they don't take heed to the information and then they struggle, they wish they could have left them, with us for another year.
So in that, do you think it's because people are not appreciating the services that you're providing from this preschool? Do you think, are there any real roadblocks you keep bumping your head up against?
Well, I think for some people, they're just looking for a spot. They just want to, do you have a spot? Oh, okay, sure. And again, it's not just a financial piece.
Right.
They're just thinking, okay, I need somewhere to be. I need to go to work.
Right.
But, I want to say maybe 55% of my parents do appreciate what we do have to offer. And they know it's about academics because we have, formal parent conferences and that sort of thing. And we do assessments. So it's not just the daycare. I
think what we're missing though is we're coming to realize we're getting older, and our parents now are very, very much younger.
Right. Yeah.
Very, and so they're not doing the research that we did when we were younger, taking our kids to schools. To look for. They're looking for, a big space or the hours that comply with what I work, opposed to what the curriculum is, what's really being given here, or what time you open. Well, I need you open at 6 because my work starts at 7. It doesn't work that way.
So do you think you struggle a lot with that preschool versus daycare?
Yeah. Well,
or babysitter, glorified babysitter.
Well, I think some of our parents think that's who we are until they actually physically have to come in and sit at a meeting, and then we can kind of show them what we have to offer, and then they're surprised.
Just like the kids coming to our preschool for the first time.
Right.
Some of these parents are coming to an actual preschool for the first time themselves.
Got you.
They're used to going to somewhere, a daycare.
Right.
They understand that we say school starts at
8:30.
8:30. They want to come in 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and don't understand why we said, no, here's the rules, this will happen. Sorry, you have to go back home. You as well as your child need to notify us that you're going to be late and what's the reason.
Right.
Just like you went to a city public or a public school out in the suburbs.
Right.
Your child can't walk in at 9 o'clock without a note or
some type of repercussions or whatever.
And those the standards that we hold our parents and our students to.
Right.
Because they have to also get their children ready for when they leave us, wherever they go.
Right.
They got those rules to live up to. They don't understand that yet. That's our biggest fight, getting our parents to understand we are a school.
Right.
We're not, hey, tell my mom drop such and such off at 10, it'll be okay. No.
And I preface that to my parents. I mean, it's in their handbook. They know it. But then you have the ones who kind of try to slide and skate by, and I have to put my foot down and say, no, I'm setting a precedence for everyone.
Right.
It is strictly across the board. You've signed a contract. You need to adhere to it. We are a school. We function as a school, and I will not change my rules for any of my clients.
And by us being small, they think that we're not serious.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we're just trying to actually educate. So we're educating the parent also, especially the young parents, of what they are getting into.
So are you also coming across any pushback from local school districts at all? Or are you getting support or?
Absolutely. I have a good relationship with a lot of the schools. I do a lot of kindergarten transitioning with my community. I look out for open houses, and I encourage my parents to do so.
Okay.
I tell them about the private, parochial, and public schools in their area. But one of the good things that I could say about our program is we get them so academically prepared that their zip code does not have to dictate where their child can go to school.
Wow.
We've had children that leave us and go to friends' schools, Germantown Friends, Lansdowne Friends. You name it, they get into many of the private institutions.
We've had parents come back and say, hey, they want to skip or move such and such up to a higher grade because they're exceeding what they're at. We're like, let them learn with their peers, challenge them more. Don't just push them away because we're thinking the teacher can't handle being able to, hey, well, she needs or he needs a little bit more than these kids need, because don't punish them because they were ready.
Right.
By pushing them up, and then they may feel a certain type of way because now they're not with their peers. They're, put on a different level.
Wow.
So, and we've gotten that a few times.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Now, how about and I don't want to get too deep into this, just funding for the school. Because really I want Dr. Naomi and Mr. Pete to answer the question, but very vaguely to some degree, because I really want y'all to go to their website, because I want y'all to understand that they do consulting for this type of stuff too. Yeah. So I just want to give them a little taste. However you want to talk about, how
funding? We're not a non-profit. The school is not non-profit,
right? So
everything that comes in is from tuition based,
right?
So if the parents, we don't have the numbers, we can't pay our teachers,
right.
So we're not opposed to taking donations, but
absolutely, we would love to take donations.
But no, everything is we're
privately owned. All the tuitions pay the teacher's salaries, the overhead, and everything else.
Everything.
I mean, we will not turn away, anybody who would like to donate anything to us. However, we're not in a category where we have people who have been generous donors who slid us some money.
Right.
No, we just basically 100% of what income comes in.
But that is something we're looking to start. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary.
Congrats.
So, and with that, we are trying to locate and continue to stay in touch with our previous students and parents, trying to set something up where we can have some like a alumni with with like an endowment to help a student through that may have financial need, something like that. So we are looking to start that with our 10th year anniversary. We're going to try to hold a small little celebration. So we'll keep that information out there, get that information out there when that's going to happen.
Right.
But come July
2020.
Wow.
Will be our 10-year anniversary.
Now, did y'all think y'all was going to make it to 10 years now?
It was scary. We opened our doors with 3 kids.
The first year was a little tight. We had 3 kids, and out of those 3, it was one of my own.
Right.
So within the first year, we met our numbers.
Okay.
So which was good. We have 20 kids enrolled in our program. That is our number. And we've been maintaining that number. One of the good things that we do when our children graduate in June, we have a celebration. They don't leave us. Many of us stay with us to start school in the fall, August and September. But we do start filling up. We have registrations, open registrations year round.
Right.
So that when we lose 8 or 9 or 7 or whatever, we always make sure we have those numbers for September. So we try not to drop below our capacity.
So what's a ratio like for teacher and kids?
Oh my goodness!
Because I've heard so many different ones.
So for preschool ages 3 to 5, it's typically 1 teacher per 10. That is not even heard of in our program. We have 5 teachers, so it's almost a 4 to 1. You don't get that.
Right.
So when we talk about, when people say, well, how many teachers do you have? You have 5? Yeah, not even including myself.
Right.
That is because we like to make sure that our kids get everything they need, whether it's a teacher sitting with 1 or 2, kind of developing those skills that they're lacking in and sharpening the ones that, they've already, kind of developed. So our ratios are amazing.
So I think that's key. When you're speaking about not just the number of ratio between teachers versus students, but also even just the educational level. Again, they're not just glorified babysitters.
Oh, absolutely not.
But here again, that's what some of the parents don't understand.
Right.
A lot of them know how bad their kids are. But
we don't like to say the word bad. They come with some challenges and some.
And most of the challenges are the parents.
Okay.
We have some challenging parents.
Right. Right.
And if they came aboard and helped and really understood what we're trying to do, it would make a lot easier for it to transcend down to the child.
Right.
For instance, homework. We give them a little bit of homework, which may be tracing their names, finish these blocks or whatever. And you come back in on Monday over the weekend, and parents, we didn't have time.
Okay.
But it's not just, filling the blocks.
Right.
We understand that's an example.
But we use ABC Mouse as a designated curriculum where we have our assistant director who tracks their progress.
Okay.
So, and it's skill building.
Okay.
So, and it's not just, dittos. It's geared toward, each individual child. But even that, I tell the parents, life can get hectic and busy. If you don't get a chance to do it, just simply write us a note. Hey, my child didn't get a chance to do it. But when you're being evasive and you kind of dismissing it all together.
That's not important.
Right.
Exactly. It comes off like it's not important.
Wow.
It's just busy work for, your child. And we go through that often.
And that's what comes back to what I'm always going to say is educating the parents. Then you have to go, what kind of educational system did they go through?
Right. So
remember, what they do right now is hand the child
electronic device.
Right.
And go sit in the corner and leave me alone.
Right.
And then expect Monday for us, we got to basically start over.
Yeah. Wow. What type of challenge is that, though? Is that frustrating? It
is.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not just to that point. I think something happened to it, not to us, but with a parent about 5-6 years ago. A child was in our program. They themselves were educators.
Okay.
And told Dr. Naomi that you guys just work on the weekends. Y'all too serious.
Well, we are serious. We're serious about our commitment to education to all of our children.
But this was coming from a very educated person who was a teacher in a school system. I had nothing else to say. I was, So then I started wondering, what are the other parents feeling like?
But see, that's where that, as you said, you're dedicated to your craft.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that people do not always understand, especially when you're coming from a true entrepreneurial mentality. People don't understand that you're really dedicated, that you live this day in and day out. It's not like a 9 to 5 where I hang it up at the door and pick it back up on Monday. No, it's a lifestyle.
And like I said, educating the parents, the mentality, they see what you drive and they assume, they're only doing it for the money. They don't know nothing about what we do outside of that, or like I'm doing this plus another full-time job plus other things to make ends meet so that we don't have to struggle when we come back to the school to continue to educate the kids. We see what's on the outside opposed to what's going on in the inside.
Right.
But you make a good valid point. It's not just, being in a program and just collecting dollars. It's not a 9 to 5. Educating children, it's who I am. It's not what I do. It's more than a craft. It was, an envisioning. we brought it to fruition. We're excited about it. We're looking to celebrate 10 years and hopefully 10 more after that, moving forward. But again, it takes hard work and commitment, not only from my husband and I as partners, but, my team of my staff who actually are on the front lines, with these children day in, day out, 12 months out of a year, 5 days a week.
Right.
Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. They are there. And many of our children spend a minimum of 50 hours a week, with us.
Right. So one thing we haven't yet to mention in this, what is the actual name of the school?
The name of the school is Changing Lanes Learning Center, Inc.
Okay. And would you like to say where it's located? I know we kind of danced around the metropolitan Philadelphia area. Would you like to announce where it's located?
Not only will I tell you where it's located, I'll give you the exact address. It is 1200 Clifton Avenue, Collingdale, PA, 19023.
You want the GPS numbers?
No, I don't need all that. Longitude, latitude, I don't need all that.
So
telephone number?
Telephone number is 610-522-2101. Our cross streets are Clifton and North.
Okay. And just for those persons that might be outside of Philly, like how long do you think you can get from Philly to?
Depending on where you come from, actually 69th Street. If you get to 69th Street, you catch the 102 trolley, and it lets you off one block from the school, right on North.
How about if you're driving?
If you're driving,
depending on where,
let's say from 69th Street, because everybody generally 69th Street, you'll take about 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's a 10 minute, if that long, depending on the day of the day, it could be traffic, 10 minutes at the most with traffic coming from 69th Street. If there's no traffic, it's quick.
So are there any other projects y'all working on right now, or you want to put out y'all social media or anything like that?
What, my Facebook page?
For
absolutely.
Whatever you try to put out
Facebook is changinglaneslearningcenter.com. I am also working on another project where I'm an educational consultant, and I'm also looking to develop a nonprofit organization as well, in addition to, the school.
Nice.
2020 is the year of new development, beginnings, and just making things happen, not talking about it.
Right. Now, one thing that she did not mention, you can go on Amazon and get her book.
Oh, yes. We have a book that my son helped illustrate and I wrote. It is called J.T. Hopper. It is on Amazon. It's available. I believe it is going for $11.99. I could be wrong, but yes, go to Amazon.com. It is J.T. Hopper.
So before we sign off, I just want to let y'all know, not only are these two in that entrepreneurial lane, they have a son who does photography, who's traveling all over, everywhere. She just mentioned one son helped illustrate the book. He also is doing music. Is there anything else that the lanes ain't doing? Is there a lane that y'all not taking? I mean, if y'all knew, what kind of skills they had, like they could build kitchens and houses and, like.
We're just trying to, it's sitting still, you get nothing done.
Right.
You can't complain. You just got to keep moving. We have our pitfalls, but you have to look at them one at a time and just keep going. Nothing's been handed to us.
Right.
We've been doing this together for 40 years, I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
We've been doing this together over 40 years. So it's just a matter of trying to take everything to the next level.
Right. We
have projects that we're working on that we haven't even begun to try to get out yet. But we don't want to be at the point where we're doing so much where we're getting nothing done.
Right.
So we're trying to streamline some things. Doctor is working on, like I said, a non-profit organization that we think is going to really benefit the community.
But there's one thing that you haven't even mentioned yet that you're doing.
What's
the Delco Dirt?
Delco Dirt Track. We have what we call Delco Dirt Track experiences. RC car racing on our open road track. 1/10 scale is what we race. Hoping to actually make a nonprofit out of that, so I can take that into schools to have kids get into it, so we can get them off the games. Working with the kids with STEM programs, also creating a 3D program where kids can actually build their own parts to be used on their vehicles. It's something new, because even the military is using drones.
Right.
You know, Australia, I believe, just did a 2020 celebration. They put over 200 drones in the sky at one time. I'm still fascinated by how they did it. I know it wasn't 200 people on the ground, so it had to have been through computers and syncing and something to do a whole show with over 200 drones.
Right.
You know, and everyone's using remotes in one way or another. So I just want to bring that out. So we'll be putting more information about that out.
Okay.
But you can go to a Facebook page. It's called Delco Dirt Track. And you can pull up some of the things we've done. We recently was out at in the Northeast where they shut down about 10 blocks.
Okay.
And we set up a race out there, out in the streets. They also had some professional drivers come through and race go-karts. So, and now my next step is to try, like I said, get into schools. I would love to start a program because they actually have video gaming as a curriculum in college now.
Right. Yep.
So I would love to be able to be on the ground to bring in remote control car racing to schools.
Nice.
You know, so it's going to be a process, but hopefully, you know, something that I'm looking forward to trying to bring.
Nice. So I really, really, really appreciate y'all being on the show today. We will definitely have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Make sure that you follow the lanes on their social media. As mentioned before, we'll have all the information in the description for the show. And I thank y'all for tuning in with us today. And make sure y'all tune in next week. Talk to y'all later.
Have a good day.
Have a good one. Thank you.